Hello, my name is Larry Larkin. Today is January 16th, 2023. We're in the the Claremore Historical Museum. I'm with Rob Melton. We're a couple of former Claremore graduates, and Rob comes from a well-known Rogers County family, and we're going to be talking to him today and learn a little more about his family and the history of Claremore. Rob?
I'm Rob Melton. I was born downtown at the General Hospital, which is over where Ann's Cleaners are today. I have both lived and worked my entire life within about a mile radius of the place I was born. I've been around here all that time, except the time I was going to college is the only time. The families from both my mom's side and my dad's side were here before statehood. My dad's family had been shopkeepers for the whole time. My mom's family, builders. Mr. Bayless brought my mom's family here, my great-granddad, to build the Belvedere. And he had been a builder up in Cassville, Missouri, where Mr. Bayless was from. And Bayless brought him down here because that's a 9,000 square foot, 3-story building, and there was a lot of and trying to get all that stuff up in the air is really something. But Mr. Bayless bought the salvage of the 1904 St. Louis World's Fair and sent my granddad up there to tear it down and put it on a rail car and bring it here. And that's where they got all the fretwork and all the fancy work.
And what was your granddad's name?
Laban Barkus.
Okay.
His name was.
So that would have been your mother's.
That my mother's granddad, and my granddad too. Walter Barkus built it, but he was in his late teens, I think, at the time. But he came down there. The family, everybody worked together. It was just a working family, and they built that. And Mr. Davis said, "Well, Laban, while you're here, why don't you build me a hotel?" And so they built the Sequoia Hotel downtown, which was a 3-story hotel, and the first one in Oklahoma that had electricity. There's no electric plant yet, but they had electric and gas. Built a 3-story hotel they built down there, and said, "Laban, while you're here, why don't you build me an opera house?" And so they built the Opera House, which is where the Spectrum Paint is now. That building there was a drugstore on the bottom floor and an opera house on the top. And he said, "Well, Laban, while you're here, why don't you build me an athletic center?" And so they built the biggest one in Oklahoma. It's kind of where the courthouse is now. It's 3-story, had Oklahoma's first indoor swimming pool.
Had a swimming pool indoors.
In it. He said, "Well, Laban, I don't have any electricity. Why don't you build the electric plant?" So he built the electric plant over there. And I don't have any idea how many others. I think the Twin Oaks Hotel, because they talked about him, Mr. Barkus, when he was in his 70s, walking along those 2x4 up 50 foot in the air. But they were. That's the reason that my wife's family was here. They were woodworkers. They were craftsmen. I asked Mom about the Depression, and she says, "Well, we were not well off, but there was always a need for a good carpenter." Then my dad's side of the family came. My great grandfather on that side died when my granddad was 12. He had to quit school 4th grade and come here, and they were about out north. And he met up with my grandmother. The stories of their story would have been very near like Oklahoma, because they met out there about Sequoia, about that time, about statehood. So anyhow, they've been around here a long time. I had all four grandparents here in Claremore, and all the uncles and aunts, and